Shemai, welcome to my wild Welsh garden, which is a bit of a winter wonderland this morning. So I'll just take you on a quick walk round. The garden is full of hungry birds. I've just put some food out for them. And some frozen rosebuds with the moon still shining behind. So these beds that were looking so horrible a couple of days ago are actually looking very, very attractive at the moment, covered in this sort of coating of like icing sugar. Yeah, it's very pretty. And these are the asters, the tall asters that were covered in pollinators at the end of the summer. And the phloxes and the azaleas. And the Magnolia stellata. And a close-up of the magnolia. And the frozen grass. And the holly looking very seasonal. And the camellia looking very frozen. Teasels looking very architectural, and my Welsh dragons covered in frost. I don't know whether you can hear the starlings in the ash tree up there. I've put some fat pellets down and they're waiting for me to move so they can come down and eat them, so I won't be long. And a very frozen pond. And the Verbena bonariensis looking very pretty. And a frozen greenhouse. A close-up of the teasels. And the moon still shining. And the view through the arch. The frost has put paid to the mashua flowers, I'm afraid. Well, I can dig them up now and eat them. And some very frosty rose hips against the clear sky. Well, it's very cold out here. I'm feeling very sorry for those poor starlings. So I'm going to go in and have my breakfast and let the birds come and have theirs. So I do worry about the birds in the winter because it's just so cold, as particularly at night. I think of them sort of trying to keep huddled on branches, trying to keep warm. So I feel like I need to feed them up during the day. And even though in my wild garden, encouraging all these invertebrates to spend the winter here, of course, on a day which is several degrees below freezing, the birds can't get any of them because they're all frozen solid. So first thing I'm going to do is to fill up my bird feeders. And I have 4 feeders for the little birds. This one has mealworms in it. I also scatter mealworms on the ground for the starlings and for the little birds that don't like to use the feeders. So the wren and the robin and the wagtails and the dunnocks and the blackbirds don't like to use the feeders. So they get their food on the ground, and I also put sultanas on the ground for the blackbirds, which they absolutely love. It's interesting because over the summer I hardly had any blackbirds in my garden at all, and now that the weather started to get cold, they've started to come into the garden, and I think some of them are winter visitors from elsewhere, probably northern UK and maybe even northern Europe. I counted 7 this morning. Okay, so that is mealworms. Oh, yes, and the other thing about mealworms is you have to be careful if you have hedgehogs. Do you know, it's amazing that hedgehogs survive at all, the number of things that they can't eat that will poison them. Things like milk, you're not supposed to give them milk, you're not supposed to give them cat food that's got fish in it. Pumpkins, for some reason, are poisonous to hedgehog. That's why the RSPB say, after Halloween, don't just leave your pumpkin in your garden. But anyway, mealworms, poisonous to hedgehogs. So in the summer, I always feed mealworms first thing in the morning, so they're all gone by the time the hedgehogs come out in the evening. But at this time, it doesn't matter because all the hedgehogs are fast asleep for the winter. Now the next feeder that I'm going to fill is seeds. Now this is it's a mixture of just the ordinary cheap seed mixture that you get in the supermarket with some sunflower seeds and some sunflower hearts and those little fat pellets that are enriched with all sorts of things, berries and mealworms and things. And this has a sieve under it because birds are such messy eaters. They scatter their seeds everywhere. And if you get too many seeds on the ground, then the danger is there that you're going to encourage rats. And I have had a major rat problem in the past, and I don't want it again. But this collects most of the seeds that fall. And then other birds come and they sit in the sieve and eat them. So it all gets eaten in the end. Okay, so that's seeds. The next one is peanuts. And these are just peanut halves, peanut bits, unfit for human consumption that you get from the supermarket. So that's the peanuts. And then the last one is the fat balls. I think these foods that contain fat are more important in the winter than in the summer. And in the summer, I tend only to feed every other day because I think, come on, eat my slugs. That's what you're here for. But in the winter, I feed every day. And the reason why I have these feeders with the cages around, these are sort of anti-squirrel cages, but I use them to keep the starlings off the feeders, because if I let the starlings onto these feeders, it would all be gone within a matter of minutes. I don't get so many starlings in the summer, but I do get loads in the winter, and I think winter visitors come from Northern Europe. But the other day I counted 80 starlings in the ash tree behind my house. Well, if you get 80 starlings descending on your bird feeders, they're then really not going to last very long. But as I say, I do feed the starlings because I scatter food on the ground for them, so they don't go hungry. And also my next door neighbour has a bird table and bird feeders that the starlings and the jackdaws go on, and sometimes even the rooks, and she's quite happy with that. So yeah, so there we go. breakfast for birds, and I forgot. I also have a little mouse, or even a little family of mice that come into my shed, and so I just give them a little bit of food as well. There we are. And now I've come out to do something about the frozen water baths of the birds here on the lawn. Oh, there's a blackbird. Doesn't like me being here. So you can see that absolutely frozen solid. There's the ice still on the ground from yesterday, and this one absolutely frozen solid. Yeah, so I shall have to do something about that. Not just for the birds to drink, although they do need to drink, obviously, but they really need somewhere to bathe to keep their feathers in good condition. So it wasn't frozen all the way to the bottom, but pretty thick. So just boiled a kettle of water. So I'll let that do its thing and maybe come out and put a bit more on later. I came out here into my summer house to see if I could get some pictures of birds bathing, but there's plenty of bird activity in the garden and a few thirsty little birds, but nobody's up for a bath this morning. So thanks for watching the video, and I do hope you'll come again to my wild Welsh garden. If you'd like to come again, then please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Hwyl am y tro!